10 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. It's a Tuesday morning, 2 days before Christmas 2025. Mark Size here on KLYN 90.3 FM, a ministry of Cornerstone Church. We're also live on Facebook and YouTube. Okay? Now, I just got a message. And I don't know, we seem to be, according to Switcher Studio, the app that we use to get our social media feed out over there, it shows that we're connected to Facebook. It shows that we're connected to YouTube. Now, I already have some good YouTube comments, but it says an error occurred when retrieving new Facebook comments. So don't know if you commenters out there on Facebook are getting through or not. I'll try not to worry about it. I'll try not to let it affect much. I don't know what to do. Maybe somebody can check Facebook to see if it's working or not. And let's just go. So Jeff is out there telling us that it's 58 degrees. 58 degrees, Jeff? 58 degrees at 8 o'clock. Well, it's 8 o'clock in the morning over there, I think is what it is. So, nope. Flo says the comments are coming through. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anyway, a good morning from Huntsville, Alabama, and a Merry Christmas to everybody. Back to you, Jeff. Merry Christmas to you. Then he has a comment that I want to read here in a little while. Let's see. Jennifer's with us. Andrea's with us. Kathleen is with us. I think Kathleen is back east someplace. As we already told you, Flo and Joe are with us. Tommy jumped in there. And, well, Marie is visiting family. That's why you miss her right now, Jenny, because she's visiting family. She's got a big smile on her face, I'm sure, visiting her family. So we'll have other people probably connecting up here in a little while. And now I know that Facebook and YouTube is working 100%. And we can concentrate on the 31st chapter of the book of Genesis. And before we do that, we always let you know is that we have a website, lvcornerstone.com. Off of that website, you can connect up to our YouTube and or our Facebook channel if you want to watch what everybody else is watching on Facebook and YouTube. We also have a phone number, 505-454-9527, which we will not answer during our program this morning. And not always do I answer it because I keep my ringer off all the time. So sometimes, and most of the time, I don't get it till later. Please leave a message. Also, we have an email address for prayer and input, KLYN903 at gmail.com. What do you say we get to it? And nope, that's not what we want. We want this first, and then we want, nope. Okay. Operator error. I wonder who that operator is. So, yesterday, remember, Jacob, I don't want to go back too far, okay, because I want to continue on this chapter. It's a long one, okay. I don't know if we're going to do a third part or not because I don't know what's going to happen when I get here during the day. Anything can spark and start a little fire going, a good fire, okay? Anyway, Jacob has already heard from the Lord that it is time for him to go back home. Go back to your father's house. The Spirit of the living God has spoken to him. Okay? But before that, he had an agreement with his uncle as he's taking care of the flocks. And Jacob has been taking care of the flocks now for going on 20 years. And it was time for him to get what was his, okay? He worked 7 years and he got Leah. He worked for another 7 years, he got Rachel. Now he's worked for another 6 years or thereabouts, and he had a deal that all of the animals, especially the sheep and the goats that were speckled, spotted, and something else, speckled, spotted, and striped, that he would have those, and that Laban would have the nice, pure, clean looking ones. Okay, and God was all over that place. And we had a question, and I believe it was yesterday, if not, it was Friday. We had a question. What was this whole thing about the striped rods and stuff like that? So Jeff was looking up some stuff yesterday, and he posted it on our YouTube. And I thank you very much. Book of Genesis, chapter 30, verse 37 says, the rods of almond and poplar wood were likely a superstition, believing what the animal sees at conception could affect the outcome before birth. And that's kind of what was my assumption was also. But he says it also could possibly have been something the angel of the Lord showed him in a dream and told him to do it by faith, and his flocks would be increased. So we don't hear about anybody else, trying that. I never heard about anybody else trying that before and seeing if it worked or not. Maybe I bet you somebody did. I just don't know about it. But that's kind of where we've been coming from, Jeff, and all of our listeners today, is this whole thing with the poplar rods and the stripping of the bark in lines and everything like that, and the putting them in the water troughs. What's that all about? No sabi de burro nada. So that's where we left it off. Okay, now, so God tells him it's time to go back home, and it hasn't been going too well with his uncle Laban and his cousins. They've been looking at him out of the corner of his eye. They've been saying, oh, suspicious. He's been stealing from our dad. All of that belongs to us. And look at, he's got all the big old husky sheep and goats and camels and whatever else they had him there. Maybe some oxen or something like that to go along with. Anyway, he's been taking from our dad. No, he wasn't taking from your dad. He was taking the leftovers that your dad didn't want anyway. But we forget that stuff, especially when we get a burr in our saddle. We get a little bit of something or another, and we just say, hey, we should have, and he's been taking us for a ride. And who is this guy? Well, he's the guy that's been doing your job for 20 years now. He's the one that's been managing. I believe that Jacob was the manager of Laban's business. And probably the sons were over there, with their pinky, sticking out of the espresso cup and sipping on it at the local coffee shop. They didn't have coffee. I don't think they did in those, but they're taking it easy. And every once in a while, Jacob say, do you guys think you could help me fix some fence today? And okay, so that's my assessment of what was. And Jacob has been faithful. The supplanter, the devious one, hasn't been so devious. And he's getting less and less that. And that's what I love about the whole deal. Now, Jacob told his family, he pulled them all off to the side. He said, let's go. How would you guys like to go on a picnic? Let's go out there to where our flocks are. And let's kind of look at our flocks. Wink, wink. Huh? And he tells them, let's go, girls. Get the kids. Get the servants. Get everything together. And why don't you bring your clothes? And why don't you bring your luggage? And why don't you bring everything along with you? And he says, listen, you see the way the things are going. And the girls say, yeah, we know what, we see the way the things are going. It's time for us to go home. So they book it. And they start going. Okay? Verse 21. Chapter 31, the book of Genesis. So he fled with all that he had, and then some. It doesn't say and then some, but there is going to be a little addition that's not very good. So he fled with all that he had. He arose and crossed the river and headed toward the mountains of Gilead. Now, Gilead is on the eastern side of the Jordan. If you we'll be there one of these days, but when Moses takes them up to the promised land, and they began to divide the land. Moses didn't go in with them, and Joshua and Moses divided up the land. When they divided up in the land, some of the tribes got property on the east side where Jordan is properly, the country Jordan is right now. That was part of 2.5 tribes. And that's where Gilead is at. So if you understand the map of Israel, let me see if I have one up here real quick. I don't know what map I have up for us. Let me full screen it for us. That's not a good map. I'm sorry. That is not a good map. Division of Canaan, maybe that's going to do us a little bit better. Yeah, it'll do us a little bit better. Can't you do me better than that, people? We got people watching us, and that's where, that's all you're giving me? Okay, so the little map, if you're looking at, it shows the Jordan River. Up on top would be the Sea of Galilee, the little lake, and then this would be the Dead Sea. So most of everything on the east side of the Jordan was especially up north, was where Gilead was at. Okay, not a good presentation on my part, but I think some of you, most of you, know what kind of the lay of the land looks like. And when they say from the river to the sea, if you've ever heard that before, they're talking about from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. We won't get into that too much this morning. But it could cause me to say something about from the river to the sea. Anyway, so he fled with all that he had. He arose and crossed the river and headed toward the mountains of Gilead. He's not in Gilead yet. He's not in the mountainous, hilly area, because their mountains and our mountains here in northern New Mexico could be a little bit different when they call them, but it's all by perspective. Yes, it is. And they're headed toward, they cross this one river as they're leaving Padam Aram, as they have all of their flocks and all of their family and all of their belongings, and they're moving on. And it's a huge, I mean, you're not talking about just 15, 20 people or a couple of hundred. You're going to find out that this guy had a lot, and they're moving it all together, so it's a slow move. But he's headed toward Gilead because God has told him it's time to go back home. And one of these days he's going to cross the Jordan River into Canaan land, which is the main body of the land that God gave to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, and to the descendants forever and ever and ever. Don't get me started about from the river to the sea, because I believe that we should support what God has said we should support. Anyway, let me see what Georgie Porgy says, because Georgie just might want me to stir up something. Oh, okay, $70. $70. George, you're kidding me. Laban was told on the third day that Jacob had fled. So he's been out shearing the sheep. Yeah, he was trying shearing Jacob to go along with it. I just caught that now. He's been out shearing the sheep. Say that fast 3 times. And he gets back on the third day, or somebody goes over there and on the third day says, "Hey, man, have you seen Jacob?" No. Well, we haven't seen him in 3 days. So he took his brethren with him, his sons, and, these guys had little armies with them. I mean, these guys were tribal people, and not just in Padam Aram, not just Ur of the Chaldees, not just in Haram, but even in Canaan, down to Philistine, down to there were tribal people. Okay, he took his brethren with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey. He already has a 3-day head start. And on the 7th day, Laban catches up with Jacob and the whole family and all their possessions. Can you see Leah with her luggage with the wheels on it, and she's just been pulling it behind her. Rebecca the same way, they got there just like they're going through the airport. Then he took his brethren with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey, and he overtook him on the mountains of Gilead. So Jacob was headed toward, and on the seventh day, well, would this be the 10th day or the 7th day? He pursued him for 7 days' journey. So this could be the 10th day that they had left Laban's land. We'll call it Laban's land here. That kind of goes good. And he overtook him on the mountains of Gilead. So there they are on the east side of the northern part of the Jordan River in the mountains of Gilead. But God had come to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said to him, "Be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad." So I was looking at this neither good nor bad, and I couldn't find much. Everybody pretty much, let's do a comparison there, and let's find out that the Amplified says, be careful you do not speak to Jacob, either good or bad. ESV, good or bad. KJV, which is the King James Version, good or bad. And that's not the original King James. You wouldn't be able to read it if you had it, unless you were in language antiquities and all that stuff. So good or bad keeps on coming up all over the place, all over. That's pretty much the way he said. So what is it that God is, and how is it that God is speaking to Laban? He says, be careful. Don't promise him anything, and don't drag him down. You be a straight shooter. That's the way that I am interpreting this, okay? Good morning, Yolanda. What is the WYC? Laban saw in sleep the Lord saying to him, beware that thou speak not anything sharply against Jacob. Okay, so that's a little bit different translation there that helps us out. Okay, so in my estimation, and we're running, is it time for us to play a song yet? Almost. Because sometimes I forget, and sometimes we get Wycliffe Bible. Thank you, Jeff. Here's my interpretation. You look at Jacob straight in the eye, and you be straight up with Jacob. Be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad. Don't start promising him all kind, because very easily, you know what Laban has been doing. Laban has changed his wages 10 times. So it's very easy for Laban to come over there and start offering him something that he shouldn't have offered him. Weather coming up in 2 minutes.
My Father, there is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Pardon for sin and the peace that endureth, thy own dear presence to cheer and to guide, strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings all mine with 10,000 beside. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Lord, unto
30 minutes and 30 seconds after the hour of 6 o'clock. Time for us to get into a quick weather report. Sunny today, high near 70. North wind today, 5 to 10, becoming south in the afternoon. Looks like another. Anybody want to golf today? No, I don't know if I can golf today. Got things going on. Mostly sunny. We could try. High near 65 tomorrow. West wind 10 to 15, increasing 15 to 20 in the afternoon. And on Thursday, mostly sunny, high near 65. West wind 15 to 20, increasing on Christmas Day, 25 to 30 in the afternoon. And we could have wind gusts as high as 40 miles an hour on Christmas Day. Let's get back into our study for today. And this is the way that we like to see it right there. Okay, so all of a sudden, and I'm guessing now, if my math is right and I'm understanding this properly, it's about the 10th day since Jacob and his family have left, and they've arrived not specifically in Canaan land yet, because they're headed to where God had met Jacob on his way over. Okay, and he's going to make full circle back, but we're very close. We're in the mountains of Gilead. And God had told Laban, okay, you be a straight shooter when you speak to Jacob. So Laban overtook Jacob. Here they come. Could you imagine? You've been moving for days. You've been sleeping at night. Everybody found their favorite tree to tuck underneath for the night. Then you wake up and you put your tent up and you keep fold it up and you keep on going and you're moving and the kids are crying, when are we going to get there? And where's the In-N-Out burger? And how come they don't have green chili in this plate? You know, stuff like that. Okay. You got kids with you. 11 of them. Youngest one is Joseph. Probably riding with his daddy. So Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountains, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mountains of Gilead. So they're close to each other. I don't know what the difference is there. And Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done?" Listen to what Laban has to say. We've been through the chapters. We've been from the time he got there, probably a lot of mistreatment along the way. Trickery. Deception on Laban's part. Good morning, Leroy. Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done that you have stolen away unknown to me, and carried away my daughters like captives?" Excuse the drama, okay? And carried away my daughters like captives taken with a sword. You're forcing them. Call the FBI. I think this guy is just, Why did you flee away secretly and steal away from me and not tell me? For I might have sent you away with joy and songs, with timbrel and harp. You did not allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Now you have done foolishly in so doing. It is in my power, verse 29, to do you harm, but the God of your father, notice how Laban addresses this whole God theme. It is in my power to do you harm, but the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good or bad. And we bring this up occasionally. These tribal people in the Bible, in the times of, let's just talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whether they were in Egypt, whether they were in Philistia, whether they were in Ur of the Chaldees, whether they all had their gods. And there was a God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We know him as Yahweh. We know him as Father. We know him as Abba, the one true God, the God of creation, the God of eternity. But these guys had their own. And he says, your God, the God of your father. Huh? So, what have you done? Back to verse 26. What have you done? You heard his little speech to Jacob, but he's got to be real careful with what he says. And I think he's really getting to the edge of what he should be saying. But he says, "What have you done that you've stolen away unknown to me? What did you want him to do, Laban? Huh? You've deceived him for 20 years now. Changed his wages 10 times." Try to always, and Jacob's going to stick up for himself. Stay tuned. But let's let Laban speak first. What have you done that you've stolen away unknown to me? Okay, that's true. We took off in the, without you knowing, you were shearing the sheep, and carried away my daughters like captives taken with a sword. Wait. Now, here's where I have, Your Honor. Whose daughters are they? Who? This did not Jacob pay 7 years for one and 7 years for the other? And did not Laban give the maid to Leah and the maid to Rachel? Whoa, who? It's in possession. Whose daughters are they? Well, they're not. Whose girls are they? His daughters, but Jacob's wives. Why did you flee away secretly? And steal away from me, and not tell me? Steal? Okay, well, there's a measure there. For I might have sent you away with joy and songs and timbrel of harp, or you might have not. You might have, blocked the road or something like that. I don't know. I might have. We could have had a party. We could have had a going away, but probably not. And Jacob knew that. And God told me, and you remember, God told him, it's time for you to go. It's probably at the beginning of the chapter. Let's see if I can find it for you real quick. Probably not. But the Lord said to Jacob, verse 3, return to the land of your fathers and to your family, and I will be with you. And that's what Jacob did. You did not allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters. These are my grandsons. Those are my girls. Yeah. You've been stealing from them. You sold. They know that they didn't have anything left. We covered that yesterday, right there in the Bible, right there in this chapter. The girl said, "Hey, man, okay. If I found that one, maybe I can find this one for you." Punch the wrong button. Okay. Well, what did the girls say? This is what they said in verse 14. Rachel and Leah answered and said to Jacob, is there any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we not considered strangers by him? For he has sold us and also completely consumed our money. So Laban, is kind of twisting the truth, okay? You didn't allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters. Now you have done foolishly in so doing. It is in my power to harm. I could call the sheriff right now if I wanted to. It is in my power to do you harm. But The God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad. And I think you're edging it right about now. And now you have surely gone because you greatly long for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods? You know, we're in the courtroom of the early morning program here on KLYN, and everybody's a judge, and that's good. That's good that everybody's, thinking, but wait, why did you steal my gods? We know what happened. But Jacob doesn't. We know that Rachel, when she went home to pack her bags, she took her father's idols, why did you steal my gods? Well, what kind of a God is this anyway? Well, anyway, just symbols, I don't know. We don't go for that too much. We try to stay away far away from, idols and carved images and molded things, whether they're of wood or whether they're of gold, or why did you steal my gods? This is brand new to Jacob. And that's really where Laban is having a big, big problem. Then Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I said, perhaps you would take your daughters from me by force. With whomever you find your gods, do not let them live. There's a movie here. Somebody tell Dallas Jenkins to get to work. He probably has 100 projects just waiting. Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid. That's why I left, because I'm afraid of you. For I said, perhaps you would take your daughters from me by force. Maybe you're going to hold on to Rachel and you're going to hold on to Leah. And along with that, the kids. Where are they going to go? But he says this, with whomever, the only thing you really have on me right now, and I don't think you even have anything on me, but if whoever you find your gods, these idols, these trinkets, whatever they are, nobody is sending me any comments on that. Do not let them live. Kill them. You just kill them if you find them. That's how sure I am that you don't know what you're talking about. In the presence of our brethren, identify what I have of yours and take it with you, for Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Oh, my God. Of all people, Rachel. That was the wife of his heart. That was number one wife in the eye of Jacob, and she finally had a son on her own named Joseph. But he didn't know she had taken him. I don't think anybody knew. But he says, in the presence of our brethren, everybody's here. Everybody's here. Your people here, my people here. My servants are here. Your servants are here. Even the sheep and the goats are hearing us this morning. I don't know what it is today. Identify what I have of yours and take it with you. If you see anything that I have, walk through the flocks. Walk through the whatever. You go through anything that you want to. If there's anything that belongs to you, take it back. Just take it if it's yours. Because all the goats and all the sheep, the camels and whatever else they have, they had already settled on who it belonged to. And Jacob is saying, I'm just taking what's mine. And I worked for it. But we got a bigger problem here with these idols. For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Laban went into Jacob's tent, into Leah's tent, into the two maids' tents, but he did not find them. Could you imagine him going into your hotel room and he taking the sheets off and going through the closets and underneath the beds and, everything. He's going through them, and he doesn't find them in Jacob's room. He doesn't find them in Leah's. He doesn't find them in the two maids. He did not find them. Then he went out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. And Rachel had taken the household idols, put them in the camel's saddle, and sat on them. And Laban searched all about the tent, but did not find them. So he goes into Rachel's tent, going through the whole thing, throwing stuff. I mean, you could see him just going through the luggage, checking out take the curtain from the bathroom, just trying to dramatize, and nothing's there, and looking up in the vents and all over the place. And Rachel had put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them, and Laban searched all about the tent but did not find them. She said to her father, "Let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise before you, for the manner of women is with me." So she tells her dad, and she's the daughter, so, probably Laban, in the hardness of his heart, still has one little soft spot for this one especially, I would imagine, but it's his daughter. Daddy, 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 let it not displease my Lord that I cannot rise before you. Let's see what the Message Bible says on this one here. This could be. Rachel said to her father, "Don't think that I'm being disrespectful, my master, that I can't stand before you." So even though he turned the place upside down in his search, he did not find his household goods. So she's sitting on the camel, and she has the saddle, and she has a reason why she's sitting on the camel, and Daddy doesn't want to get close to that one. Daddy says, okay, don't say, shh. We don't say that. Don't talk about that, because you're still my little girl. I cannot rise before you. I like the New King James, and probably the FCC does too. For the manner of women is with me. So he didn't find the household idols. Now Jacob says, okay. Jacob was angry and rebuked Laban. Now God had not told Jacob, watch out how do you respond to Laban. Laban had heard from God. Not his God, but the real God, the true God. Laban had already heard, watch out what you say to Jacob. But Jacob didn't have the same parameters, okay, of what to say and what. And Jacob was angry. Jacob said, okay, now I've had enough of this. 20 years, dude. Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued me? I don't even know why you're here, Laban. I don't know why you even took the time. 10 days you've been following me, and you finally catch up to me. What's your problem, man? What is my trespass? What is my sin? Do you have anything against me? You do not have anything against me. Everything that's here is mine. Paid, signed, sealed, and delivered. I got the papers on everything. Look, I'm speckled, striped, spotted. Although you have searched all my things, what part of your household things have you found? Okay, you went through everything. We let you go through our tents. We let you tear apart the luggage, whatever. I don't know. Go through the wagons, whatever. Although you have searched all my things, what part of your household things have you found? Set it here before my brethren and your brethren, that they may judge between us both. Let's flash it, buddy. Flash it right here. These 20 years, Jacob is, I would imagine right about now, Jacob is venting. Jacob's finally saying, you know what, dude? Let's tell it like it is. These 20 years, I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and I have not eaten the rams of your flock. That which was torn by beasts, I did not bring to you. So here he's showing this is what has happened, and Laban knew this, and so did the sons of Laban that were probably with him, and the servants, all of them with their swords on their sides, ready for action, and they all know the story. He says, 20 years I've been with you. Your female sheep and your female goats have not miscarried their young. I've been there with them. And he's getting into that. I have not eaten the rams of your flock. He says, I didn't go kill one of your rams and put it on the barbecue. That which was torn by beasts, I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it. I paid for the beast that killed you required it from my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Every time something bad happened, every time we went through the paperwork and you said, well, what happened to that one? I'm deducting that from your salary. Okay, no, isn't that what he's saying? That which was torn by beasts, I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it. You took that off of my salary. You required it from my hand, whether stolen by day. If somebody came and stole it during the day or stole it during the night and it wasn't there, I was the one who paid for it, and I didn't complain. Because God was doing something in him. And don't forget, God was doing something in Jacob, deep down in Jacob. Don't ever forget that. There I was. Jacob was on the operating table, and God was the one who was the doctor. There I was in the day the drought consumed me, and frost by night, and sleep departed from my eyes. He says, I wasn't a clock puncher. Jesus talked about the clock puncher. Jesus says that there's what did he name him? Jesus said about the one who there was the shepherd who's there all the time, and there's the other guy who's just kind of watching over the sheep. Jacob wasn't that guy. Jacob was the shepherd over the sheep. Jacob was the one, and Jesus talked about the guy who just, it punches the clock. It's time to go, 4 o'clock. Oh, but I think the wolf is over there. It's 4 o'clock. I gotta go. See you guys later. Jacob wasn't that guy. I was there in the day. I was there in the heat of the day. I was there. In the cold of the night, I was there. That's what the Amplified says. This was my situation. By day, the heat consumed me, and by night, the cold, and I could not sleep because I was taking care of your business and then trying to take care of my business at the same time. Yeah, and he was. Thus, I have been in your house 20 years. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Jacob's venting. Jacob says, dude, it's time for me to, unless the God of my father, you talked about the God of my father. Well, let me tell you, unless the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely now you have sent me away empty-handed. Somewhere down the line, it clicked. Revelation, the spirit of wisdom and revelation clicked in Jacob's life in these 20 years. And he says, you know what, God? All this is because of you. Everything that you're doing, and he's defending the blessing that God has brought upon his life. He doesn't have to make excuses for the blessing. He doesn't have to walk around and say, wow, really? No, God has given me this. This belongs to me. This is mine. God has given it to me. Unless the God of my father, the God of Abraham, the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. I know what you would have done, Laban. If I would have told you I was going, you would say, okay, go. You would have kicked me out the door, and you would have thrown a slice of bread and a backpack and said, "Ahí te watcho, see you later." God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night. Looks like Jacob put on his big boy pants right about now. And Laban answered and said to Jacob, "These daughters are my daughters. These children are my children. And this flock is my flock. All that you see is mine. But what can I do this day to these my daughters or to their children whom they have borne?" Oh, that dude, he's pretty good. Old Laban, he's pretty good, man. He thinks he has an ace up one sleeve, and he has the fifth of four pair in another one just in case he needs it. They're mine. They're mine. They're really mine. No, they're not yours. I've already told you I worked for them. Laban answered and said to Jacob, "These daughters are my daughters. These children are my children. This flock is my flock. All that you see is mine. But what can I?" And Jacob had already, Jacob standing up for himself, and really not for himself, for the blessing that God has. Now, therefore, verse 44. Now, therefore, and Laban is still speaking, "Come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me." You say, "Well, what's going on over here?" Laban knows he don't have a foot to stand on. Even his sons and his servants that he brought with him know that Laban doesn't have a foot to stand on. But you can shuck and you can jive. You just never know what you're going to get away with. Huh? They're mine. They're really mine. I think we've gone over that. Now therefore, okay. Now therefore, let's play nice, Laban. That's what he's saying. That's what Laban. We're going to play nice here. I'm going to be good to you. Now therefore, come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me. Okay, he says. Okay, we're 10 days' journey away, and I guess you've got your mind set up. No, God told me what I should be doing. Okay, he says, let's come to an agreement, you and I. Let's make sure that everything's okay. Got to play a song. Good morning, Las Vegas. You are listening to KLYN 90.3 FM. It is a Tuesday morning, the 23rd day of December. Good morning to our Facebook and YouTube people that are out over there. Merry Christmas, everyone, as we keep throwing Merry Christmas greetings back and forth to each one. So if you're listening on 90.3 FM, our YouTube and Facebook people are wishing you Merry Christmas. Wish them back. Thank them for everything that you're doing. 32 degrees is what I'm showing. It looks like if the weather people now are starting to have a come together meeting and say, yeah, 32 degrees current temperature, feels like 27 out there because we have a 5-mile-an-hour breeze blowing out of the north, and humidity is currently at 30%. Full weather reports at the bottom of the hour. These are my daughters, and I could take them if I wanted to. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't, dude. But I got to be careful. I was said to be careful. Okay, so let's put our people back where they want to be so they can follow along with us. Okay, verse 44 is where we left off. If you've been following along with us. Now, therefore, come, and if you haven't, just read all the whole 31st chapter, and you'll know why we get into verse 44. And I've been dramatizing the whole thing along with you, but I'm trying to even poke little, try to extract something deep in there that could touch somebody's life and say, yeah. And you know what? Jacob, there's a maturity in Jacob. I was thinking of this during this last song. There's a maturity in Jacob that there wasn't before. Jody, when he preached a couple of months ago, I don't know how long it's been, but within the last couple of months, Jody preached on a Sunday, and he preached about the stages of maturity, from the born again all the way up to a son of the living God. There's like 5 stages along the way, different words that the Bible uses to describe stages that we're in with him. And I see Jacob on his way to full maturity. But Laban says in verse 44, now therefore come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me. Okay. They belong to me, but I'm going to let you have them. I don't think so, sir. I don't think so. And remember what God told you. So Jacob took a stone, set it up as a pillar, and Jacob said to his brethren, gather stones. Everybody get a rock. Jacob gets a stone, and I'm guessing this is not just some little, 20-pounder. Probably something kind of big, okay, like we would see a big piece of flagstone or something like that is what my guess is. Anyway, Jacob took a stone, set it up as a pillar. So this isn't just some small thing. Then Jacob said to his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there on the heap. So you get the stone, you set it up as a pillar, dig it in the ground, and then you put all the stones around it. You make a heap around it. And they ate there on the heap. Everybody's sitting around. They got their own rock, they're sitting around, and they're eating. Laban called it something or another, but Jacob called it Gilead. Okay? Laban called it Jegar Sahudatha. But Jacob called it Gilead. So, and here's back to the Amplified Bible again, so you could kind of see. Laban called it Jegar Sahudatha, stone monument of testimony in Aramaic, but Jacob called it Gilead. So we have a little bit different. One of Jacob's talking in Hebrew, and Laban is using a Aramaic name, and they mean the same thing: a stone monument of testimony. And the languages are related to each other, the Aramaic and the Hebrew. And going to even be more related as the generations come. Anyway, they sit down, okay? They ate there on the heap. I don't know. For me, it's morning. It's scrambled eggs, okay? Laban called it Jegar Sahudatha, but Jacob called it Galid, okay? Not to be mistaken with the mountains of Gilead. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me this day, therefore its name was Galid. Okay? He says, this is a witness. This is where we're coming to an agreement, you and I. In the ears and the eyes of all of the people that are gathered around, and not only that, but the ears and eyes of God himself. This heap is a witness between you and me this day, therefore its name was called Galid, also Mizpah, because he said, may the Lord watch between you and me when we are absent from one another. So Laban says, and God's going to watch. May the Lord, and he's using Yahweh, watch between you and me when we are absent from one another. Did he even know the word Yahweh? Were they even using it in those days? Some people say no, but you know where we're coming from. So this is Mizpah. Let's see what the Amplified says about Mizpah. Watchtower. Okay, so this pillar is a watchtower also. Not just a rock of covenant, a stone of covenant, but it's also a watchtower. People passing by and say, I wonder what happened here. Don't try to knock that pillar down. Don't try to move those stones. There's something that happened here. And God is watching. God is going, may the Lord watch between you and me when we are absent from one another. Actually, Laban was the one who's going to have the bigger eyes on him. You know how that goes. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, although no man is with us, see, God is my witness between you and me. Whatever you do beyond there, I'm not going to be there to watch you, but God's there to watch you. Then and Jacob wasn't going to need, Laban said to Jacob, here is this heap, here is this pillar, which I have placed between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I will not pass beyond this to you, and you will not pass beyond this heap and this pillar to me for harm. You can come and visit me, but not to hurt. And this pillar here is going to remind, if you're mad and you're in Canaan land and you're mad at me and you decide you want to come after me, you're going to pass by this area and you're going to say, oh, I can't. And vice versa. Because God's watching. Verse 53, the God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, the God of their father judged between us, and God swore by the fear of his father Isaac. So, Mr. Laban is talking about the God of Abraham. He's also talking about the God of Nahor. He's also talking about the God of their father judged between us. And Jacob says, well, you can swear by whatever God you want to, but I'm swearing by the fear of my father Isaac and the God of Abraham. Same God. And Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and called his brethren to eat bread. Get one of them speckled ones. Because that's all we got. And we're going to have a sacrifice. And we're going to eat bread. And they ate bread and stayed all night on the mountain. Have to make it real in the minds of his people. He's making the wives of his wives and their maids and their children. This is something that they are never going to forget. I was there on that day, he says. They're going to say, this is the way my dad did business. This is the way my dad did stuff. And early in the morning, Laban arose, kissed his sons and daughters, and blessed them. Then Laban departed and returned to his place. I think he could have saved himself a lot of time if he would have just stayed home, but he didn't get much out of it. And also he was looking for the idols. And I think we're going to be talking about those idols that Rachel had under the saddle. And we're going to be talking about those as we go. But tomorrow we get into the 32nd chapter of the book of Genesis, and strange things. This God says, dude, you did a good job. You did a good job when I took you out to Padam Aram. Anyway, let us, what are we going to do? We're going to thank you for watching, and we're going to play a song, and we're going to come back tomorrow at around 10 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock, and we're going to continue in chapter 32. Now, question is, Christmas Day? Probably. I can't see why I won't be able to come Christmas Day, even though the coffee shop's going to be closed, that we can't come and do a continuing of our teaching, not only tomorrow, Christmas Eve, but on Christmas Day also. So I have Marcos Witt in the background at 11 minutes after the hour. See you guys tomorrow.
Si me preguntan que por qué, cantando alegre siempre voy, con mucho gusto les diré, es que Jesús me